Hi, Matt McAleer, President, Director of Private Wealth, Cumberland Advisors, 11:17, just after the close, with John Mousseau, the Moose, our CEO, Director of Fixed Income. John, I saw you take a little breathe, a little sigh of relief. The shoulders loosened up a little bit this week.
It's been a tough fall, and you know what? We've had a little bit of relief since the beginning of the month. And that 10-year bond yield on Treasuries, which we know pierced 5%, is sitting there at a 4.45 as we speak. And what it really does is it reinforces the fact that the sentiment in the market has changed from, oh, woe is us with higher interest rates, to, oh boy, it looks like things are slowing down. And we know that from drops in CPI this week, drops in PPI this week, greater number of jobless claims this week. And you go back a couple of weeks and you had, first of all, a jobs number, which was lower than expectations.
Right.
So all of that's conspired to kind of change the tone. And it's the change in tone which, as you know, drags the equity markets with it.
Yeah, equities, another strong bid off of that data early in the week. But that bid it stayed steady. It's not that we ripped into the end of the week, but don't forget, you're coming off a very strong week last week.
Right.
So in terms of positioning, I think you continued to see how out of position capital was for soft news.
Right.
That real strong move always is emblematic of capital being mispositioned prior. And we spoke last week about some of the rips in the ne'er-do-wells, right? The stocks that have really been pounded this year and had large short positions in them that ripped. And you had a continuation of that this week. Some of that short position has come in quite a bit. And as a matter of fact, when you look at some of the put-call ratios, which just give us a little bit of a look into how people are positioned in the options market, we see that much of that heavy put buying has worn off, and we're actually seeing quite a bit of call buying. So maybe next week in an abbreviated session we go back and forth. Keep in mind, shorter term Treasuries haven't really followed down the 5 and 10 year.
No.
On a 30, 60, 90 day T-bill, we're still north of 5%. That can be a place to offer some
Absolutely,
defense.
a place to hang out. And I think what you brought up is an important point, because the fact that we know we had the Fed out there saying they're going to keep short-term rates high for longer, that is what the longer eventually drives the sentiment that maybe the economy is slowing down. And we obviously have anecdotal evidence of that.
Right, and it's anecdotal currently.
Right.
All we can do is trade and invest on what is in front of us.
Right, correct.
Real capital in real time. It doesn't do us or our clients too much in terms of a benefit to try to make long-term projections. We do feel, and John's been fairly consistent about that we were pressing up on a top area, and it went beyond what we even thought. 450 we thought, got closer to 5, has backed down now. In a 4 to 450 range out 12 or 18 months, I think multiple markets can trade in a decent fashion.
Right, for sure.
What do we have coming up with the abbreviated week?
It's going to be a short week in bonds, not much in supply. Of course, we went through this huge bulge of supply in October, and that's been worked off. You're coming into the end of the year when there's a lot of demand for reinvestment of bonds, matured bonds, coupon payments, called bonds. That always provides some stability and source of demand in the muni market. And that goes right through January. And then once you get to the spring, things start to soften up a little bit. But the technicals are very good for the muni market in general and bonds in general, given that rates are still fairly high compared to where they were at back in March.
Right. Remember, full session equity-wise Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think bonds might have an abbreviated session Wednesday. On Friday, equities close at 1, bonds at 2. Any special Thanksgiving note, John?
No, except there's probably a good chance that the Lions win their football game on Thanksgiving. Normally you don't see that.
That's true. Everybody enjoy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week.